Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. A pleasure to be here with you today in this special video talking about how can we bring support to children who can see the other side, who can interact with the other side. And this is something that is happening more and more. And lately, I've been having a lot of people asking me questions, and it gets a little bit more with older children, not only with little children. And I feel like many of us, we are very familiar with the idea that little ones sometimes see the other side. Sometimes we wonder who they are talking to, they're interacting. And often we see them looking, staring at some places. Then we have the imaginary friend, for example. And this is a very interesting subject because there is always a fear of my kid is okay or not, what is normal, what is not normal. And the unknown makes us feel very uncomfortable, especially when we have no idea in ourselves. Maybe we haven't experienced that, or we have some beliefs that will make it very challenging. So what is the best way to address this and how to do this? On one hand, first, all these guidance is being they're helping us today. And I will also talk a little bit in my own experience, so it might help you. And very important to know this is that you always trust yourself and always trust your gut feeling. And of course, have a bigger team as well, right? So sometimes there's people who say, well, do I take him to a psychologist? Do I talk to him, to take him to a doctor? Do what it feels right to you. And so the most important thing here is that it is a combination of things. Sometimes it will require a combination of a bigger team, address everything in a holistic way, not only one way. And there might be some children out there that have been medicated with something to make them more relaxed and all that kind of stuff. So I would always suggest to always integrate everything. Okay, so you have a doctor, but the emotional part is understanding. And especially when perhaps maybe some doctors may not really understand this part, they are not very familiar, bringing the extra support will actually be more beneficial for the children and for an adult even, to have the two of them. Okay, it's like having more things that can keep you more in the center. And now I will say there is many more doctors, psychologists that are already integrating many of these things, understanding that there's no separation of our spiritual part with our physiological part. Oh my goodness, tongue twist right there. And they are working more holistically, understanding that there is no one thing, the same thing for everyone. It has to be more specialized according to the situation. So always, this will never take anything from the doctor. So always make sure that if you are visiting a doctor, or you have a doctor, always have that in mind. This is extra support, the emotional support that can help you and your children. So I'd like to start with many of us, we have been raised in different ways. Either we believe into something, we have a religion or no religion. It just, maybe some things will take us out of our comfort zone. In my case, for example, I was raised as a Catholic, and not fully, I will say. My house was always a little bit open because my grandma always had this intuition kind of thing. And it was always that knowing that, you just know something. And we kind of knew there was something out there. However, there was always the fear factors of what is it? Is it scary because the unknown, or we've been told that anything that is not, in the church or anything connected with the angels, nobody else can do this. Otherwise, it's just, something diabolic or the opposite side of God. Right? So there's a fear right there. And if we don't know what it is, we don't touch it because we are calling something that we don't want. And that's what I was, told at some point. even though there's things that would just not make sense, but that will bring the security. Going to church and pray and all that kind of stuff will make that easy in our minds. So there's the people who will not believe into anything. So it's like, imagination, or this is something, people are maybe going, having schizophrenia, or many, many, many things out there. So the first thing they'll say, it is just stop for a moment, be heart-centered and grounded, because every parent, everyone will know what is happening. You will know, we will all know right deep inside if really something is wrong with ourselves or with our children, okay? Especially when we are these conversations for the children, but we will all know. It is just that we don't trust our own guidance, in our own intuition, in our own knowing. Our sixth sense is actually our first sense, and we don't trust it. We've been guided to believe that we don't know anything, and that we have to rely on something or someone out there to tell us what to do and how to do this. So we have lost our ways, and to that connection that we have with our souls, and how we can actually recognize that we have all the information that we need, by just finding our own guidance. And so here, the first thing they'll say is just connect with yourself. And how does that feel? Do you really think that maybe your children have schizophrenia, or really something wrong with that? Because many, many times there will be things that will resonate. We know that it's like, there's no possible way, perhaps your children would know some information they're bringing to you that they are obtaining from their grandpa, or whoever they are seeing the other side. And it's just for the logical mind will not make sense. But your gut feeling is telling us like, wow, that's impressive. How do they know that? So it's very, makes you feel a little bit nervous, vulnerable, and don't know what to do. And you don't want to encourage the kid. So people will say to me, I don't want to encourage it because what if it's not? And, I'm making him feel that he's something special, and everybody is special, right? And there's the thing that many, many, many children, many, many adults actually, they experience things like that, but they never talk about, because there's something, it's almost like a taboo thing. It's almost like in the 50s or 30s when they will not talk about what is intercourse, right? And so grandparents will, they didn't know what was a period, for example. Some grandmas is like, oh, what just happened to me? Because there was like, we wouldn't talk about those things. It's kind of the same thing. And what is happening right now, many, many people are awakening, and our children are wired differently. And so they are coming with different cables because they are prepared for dealing with something different, and we are the ones who are opening the path for them. We are the pioneers of this new era. We are in the beginning of something huge, which we will see perhaps in 1,000 years, really. But in the next 100 years or even 200 years will be so much different than what we had even 100 years ago. We are moving in such a fast and a quantum way. Fast. 3 years ago, we are so different, and we are in a completely different place than we were 3 years ago. We are the generation that we had no computers, and all of a sudden we have this technology, and here I am talking to you all around the world, and I'm here at home, for example. So there's things that we couldn't even imagine or that could be possible, right? And here we are. So there's many things that we cannot even imagine what is happening, or that will be happening, what we'll be living with these new ways of schooling. The things that will be creating that are not even in our mind. We have no reference of what is happening, what is coming. And so our children are coming with that specific wire, and they are prepared for that. We are the ones who are in kind of in that transition, really. And so as we are learning so many things, getting these old ways, starting these new ways, and they are more in tune with themselves. So now there's many things happening in here. On one hand, there's children that are hyperactive all the time. So they are being misdiagnosed, with ADHD, and you have all these kind of things and all this energy, because they have a lot of energy. The truth is that they do have a lot of energy, and they are such a higher frequency, and we are, I guess we could say, lower frequency. So it's sometimes hard for us to be around them, because it's like, oh my God, it's so high the frequency, it could be too much. And they are children, so they have a hard time to regulate that energy, right? Even children, as they are always higher frequency. We are more dense as we get older because we get a little bit more grumpy sometimes. And so bringing their inner child out will help to really help them as well too, and to kind of raise our vibration and say, okay, let's go and play a little bit, and we can understand a little bit better what they are saying. Even will help them to bring some of the energy down by doing some physical things or using their creativity, that energy, into something instead of numbing them with different things. How can we help them to use that energy into something, regular that energy? We need to assist them into balance that energy, right? So some kids cannot sit for 6 hours, and right now it's impossible. I don't know, in the school, they want children to be there for 6 hours without moving. And if they move, there's something wrong with the kid, and this is not okay, because the children feel like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. I'm supposed to behave like a grown-up, and I'm 7 years old. It's just not possible. And so they are teaching us a lot of things. And I know we are getting there and there more and more. So now we have this other thing that the kids are very aware of the other side. The veil is getting thinner and thinner, even for grown-ups. So some adults right now, all of a sudden, they start seeing the other side, or they start seeing like, oh my goodness, I have this experience, or am I a medium, for example? I have people that are 60s, on their 70s even, they're all of a sudden, it's like they awaken to the fact that it's like, what is happening in here? I can see the other side. It is more than what I used to think, and all these belief systems just change. So there is so much that changes very quickly when we have this awakening. And then the children, when we have children, if it's not happening to us in our personal, our children will help us to go through that with their own process. So it is a difficult thing for a parent who doesn't know, or has no awareness, or doesn't believe, or there is some limited beliefs in ourselves as a parent. So how do I support them? Because on one hand, you can trust them, and yet you have this society that is saying, that is not normal. And so we have to normalize the non-normal, because there is no such a normal thing. And many children and many kids and many adults are in that situation, but they cannot express it because they've been exposed as crazy, just don't make any sense. So they don't feel like they belong anywhere. It's a very difficult thing. And this is not any different than someone who have a different, some beliefs, and nobody can express what they want to because they're being judged. Because if you don't believe or think the same way as everyone, there's this judgment that you're something wrong. And the truth is that all of us, we are so different, and we can have many things in common and still be different, and feel okay being who we are is a difficult thing on a normal basis. And we feel like it's so much easier to be like everybody else, so that we don't have to deal with the fact that the people judge us. And I hear often the parents or people saying to their kids, just follow the whole thing, so you don't have to worry about it, so you can just fit in there. But that makes people unhappy. That's like telling you to go and work also somewhere and just do it just do it, and so that you can get the money. But if you're unhappy, then you ended up at the age of 56 and say, what did I do to my life? So this is the time for us right now to do these changes in our children. Are the most important thing right now. These are the new humanity. This is the new world coming with them. So that's why we have to invest in our children in the best possible ways, giving them that support. So now let's start with the fact that people will say, well, my kid says that hears voices telling them this and that. And that makes people nervous to say, oh my God, is he schizophrenic? Is there something wrong with that? So you could see the way the kid behaves, right? So you will always ask, it's okay, to yourself, how does this feel? Like, what is he saying? He's saying, they're seeing angels, and they're talking about perhaps about the grandparents or someone from the other side telling them stories and conversations and just information, like, if they were right here. And how is it feel? Does it feel happy? Feel normal? The things that sometimes the children will say this is normal, but when they share with people and say, oh no, this is not right, this is your imagination, they feel like, okay, something is wrong then with me, because I am seeing this, and how come they're telling me that this doesn't exist? So then the children will be more hesitant to share anything because they feel there's something wrong with it, right? And so normally at the age, all the way to the age of 7, that's when they are exposed into kindergarten, they go to school. So when they're little, you have, oh, they have great imagination, they're playing, that he has a little friend, imaginary friends or whatever. But then when they go to school, and perhaps some other children will not see that, and then if they share that and someone said, oh, there's nobody here, then it's like, oops, maybe I should not be sharing this information. So that's kind of closing that part. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that because nobody's seeing it, how, you know, and nobody gives them the opportunity to really express that, so they will shut that down. So that's why they say after the age of 7, everything shuts down. And it's because we do that, because us as a society, we do this because it's like, it's not going to happen. It's not true. The thing is, it depends in each one's wishing list that we came here to do. There is the contract, but I don't like to say contract. We all have a purpose to be here. We decided to come here for many reasons. And I call it our wishing list. And what is it that we want to come and accomplish and do, experience, and help others to transcend as well, to helping the world right now. So these little bodies are, you know, children. They have a big soul inside. It could be so wise, could be, you know, perhaps even older than our own soul. So they are so smart. So that's why our children, if we ask them what would be the solution for the world, they can tell us what it is. And that's exactly what it is. They don't have filters. We put the filters in what we think that is right or wrong according to what we are being exposed to. So allowing them just to continue to talk about after the age of 7, say 8, 9, and say, well, I saw this, and perhaps it's a little bit more nervous for them too, because it's like, okay, I know that not everybody sees them. It's more clear for them that not everybody perhaps is seeing them, but they can see them. They can talk, they can interact, they are aware of something else, and not necessarily everybody's aware of that, especially grown-ups. So they will feel a little bit concerned. So allowing them to say, so what are they saying? You know, what do you hear? Giving them that space of safety where they can talk about it. And even if you do not believe, or even if you don't understand that, just allow that he or she can just express that and just feel it. How is that resonating with you? So for the people who think, oh, what if they have schizophrenia, because they're hearing voices, right? So allow yourself to know, how does that feel? That you really think that has schizophrenia or not? But you can always go with the doctor, and then you can first feel yourself and allow yourself to know, because you are very aware, and you will know. You will really know. And that's the thing. When we think too much, this is the way that it's a protection system, so it will try to make logic to everything. So these kind of things sometimes do not make sense, but you know that it feels right. But in order to be here on the earth, sometimes we need that extra support. So going to see a psychologist, going to see the extra help will help you to give that support that he or she needs. Okay, so not separating one from the other. It's just very, in a holistic way, is the best way that we can approach this. Sometimes when we know that it's okay, that we know that everything is fine, and we know that they are seeing that, even though it might not make sense, especially when they come into a family that perhaps the beliefs are that, you know, that's evil, or that's not okay, or someone who does not believe in something, and we shut that down into them, to saying them, oh, that's not right, this is crazy, or you're dealing with the devil, or you're dealing with that, creates fear on them. So it creates more confusion. So it is about, at that point, and before we put what we think it is, it's just to really feel and know, it's okay, what is that? Obviously something is happening in there, giving the opportunity and to be open-minded to see what can you bring out there. Perhaps find people that are going through the same as they are, because there is millions and millions of people going through the same situation as you are. And there's support systems, as when it is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So there is that support in there, and they understand that process. So if you are talking with someone who does judge you for what you're doing, you're not gonna get that support. And one thing is, you're not getting to what you want to hear. It's always what you need to hear. And sometimes people it is helpful to say, hey, just double check, make sure everything is okay. But if someone is afraid of something, it tells you there is only one way of doing things, then I would suggest you just to kind of take a second opinion, right? Because there is no one size fits all, ever. Never, ever, ever. There is no one medicine for diabetes that will be the same for everyone. So right now, as I was saying, there's many doctors even helping and kind of integrate more of this holistic way to say, okay, this medicine is for diabetic people, but if it doesn't fit the same way for everyone, for someone might be actually quite harmful. So you can't really give this to everyone the same way, because someone might be different. It will be something different. They need maybe that with something else, okay? And the effect will be better. And if you personalize the things. So it's important to know that there is support out there. And it is normal that children will see the other side. And after they are older, after 7, and then you go to the teenager stage, right? It could be a little bit more, I will say, confusion for the children, because it's like they're going through the hormones, right? They're going to puberty. And how do you manage that? At the beginning, it's so cute and all that. Oh, that's nice. My kids always see this excited and see the other side. But going with this after that age, and and it's being open like that, especially when you have no support in your family, could be very difficult for them to handle it themselves. It is something difficult to understand as it is, because nobody is aware of this. And it's already, even being here myself, it took me a long time. I was almost 40. I was 30 something when I started really understanding what am I supposed to be doing. And since I was a child, I was able to see, hear, feel, and all these experiences, but I never looked into that deep enough, because there was always a sense of fear in there. Even though I had support with my family, actually I had that support with my mom, my grandma, my siblings even, but there was also the fear, and there was the other side, which was the society. When I was able to really understand and decide, well, some things are happening, they're not happening to anybody else. So I cannot listen to people telling me, oh, you are making this up. When I'm having these experiences, I've seen people here in front of me that they are not able to see. I know I'm not crazy, and I'm not going to allow the people to make me feel or maybe believe something that they're not experiencing. So when I give that opportunity, my whole world changed. Because first I knew I wasn't crazy. Then I all these validations of the things that I personally went through that helped me to understand that. And that's why I'm here trying to do the same thing, giving as much as information as possible for me, whatever I have, whatever they share with me as well, to support this path, because it's going to be more and more. Eventually we all can, I'm going to lose a job. In 300 years, I don't think nobody's going to necessarily do this, what I'm doing right now, because everybody will know that anyways. It will be different ways of connecting with ourselves and the spirit world and the whole cosmic part that we still need to go and explore. But the best support that we can give to our children is ourselves being open-minded, especially if it's something that we do not believe, or it is very difficult for us. So when the outside world starts telling us that the way we are supposed to do or be like everybody else, creates a conflict. So honoring your own knowing, your emotions, your feelings, will help you to help your children as well too. It is important that they can have that support and that area where they can talk about it. It's difficult when you have an experience, and who do you share this information? It's very difficult. Even as I will talk about with other people that are other mediums, and perhaps I have my own coach, because sometimes even our own family will not necessarily understand, and it doesn't mean that they're not supporting you, but it is still the process of like, okay, trying to, I see in my family often that it's like, okay, that's good, I'm happy, I see that you are happy and it's working out for you and it makes sense for you, and perhaps many times I will say things that will make sense to them and say, thank you very much. But still, there's different process. Everybody has their own ways and their own paths. So the support is there, and they don't have to always, believe what I say, because, it's the thing is, that's the support, unconditional support that we can give to someone. We all have different things. And even if someone likes the blue color and I don't, it doesn't mean they're wrong and I'm right, or vice versa. You like blue, I don't like it, but I support you and I want you to have the best blue experience that you have, for example. So that's what we can do for our children, and approaching them in the most gentle way, especially with little children. What do you hear? What did they say? Oh, is that right? Okay, can you write that down for me? Can you make a drawing about it? Show me when they bring that to you, and be aware of everything, and you will know when it's a time to, if you feel like you need to call someone else to support you or support your children. Especially when people are concerned about kids being schizophrenic. That's the biggest one, because many kids, even that has something. It is about being in different worlds. We are multidimensional beings, and some beings, some souls come here and they did not adjust 100% here in the physical. So they are in different places, and that's what it is, in different realities. And it's hard to control it here in this world that is very, very dense. So yeah, some people might need some medication for that because it needs to be done on this end. And some don't need that. So that's why it's so personalized, and that's why you cannot. The doctors are so helpful. They are part of this beautiful balance and working together. I'm sure there will be someone could help you to find someone that will give you that full experience, the full support, in a holistic way. Allowing your children to know that there is nothing wrong with them. They are unique. We are everybody unique. And it is a difficult thing on these days to really honor ourselves and be ourselves. It's very difficult embodying our true selves because we feel like we have to fit in and we have to behave in a different way. And the same thing happens for children. The pressure on them is huge because there's something that they have to fulfill. Either in our families, you cannot be a singer because you have to be a doctor, because in our families, everybody has been a doctor because everybody's successful that way. But let's be careful how we put these things. What is successful? Because in reality, is successful is being happy, not necessarily the financial part. And we put that pressure into them, and that will also influence in how they deal with the whole thing. So being open, perhaps maybe you starting going and find, do your research, find information. What can you do? Where is how many other parents are going through that? And it's just like when we found all this information about when we're looking on the internet, oh my goodness, do you have chicken pox or not, right? All these rashes over here. So internet is so helpful when we use it in the right way. And people will say, oh yeah, but it's Google. Like it is doctors are in Google. It's the communication that we will have in the future. Really, that's what it is. Even doctors now, they do virtual meetings like that and seeing their patients like that. So there is good information out there. Go with the things that resonate with you. Again, what they want you to do is just to trust yourself, especially yourself, because you might hear things from everybody else, but it's like, yeah, they might, that would be logically to think all these things, but it doesn't how that feels to you. Because as a parent, we have this big job, and as we are responsible to help them to find their way. We are not responsible to do their lives for them, but we're helping them to fulfill what is it that they came here to do and support them in the best possible way. And even if not necessarily they don't do what is it that we wanted or we expect them to do, and we always want the best for our children. So neither be so judgmental with yourself to say, oh my God, I pushed my kid too much into this thing, because at the end of the day, what you want is the best thing for your kid. It's just allow yourself to know, why are you doing what you're doing? Does it feel right to you? Is this a good way or not? Ask for assistance for many ways. If you have your guides and your angels to show you the way, to put you the right people, go and see doctors or psychologists, go and see family that you feel like you can support, and feel like who is bringing you the real support, okay? And people will tell you many things. So just go with the things that that if they resonate with you, whether it's a yes or a not, it has to go with the resonance with you. And this is the best support yourself. You can support yourself, and then you will support your kid. So I hope this is helpful. There's so much that we can talk about here, but mainly it's just to be aware that there is many children going through that process right now, and to perhaps understand them in a different way, right? Not in the classical way that we feel that, you know, there should be something wrong because it should not be happening, because there's going to happen more and more as we go with the years. And as well is that understanding how there's different ways that we have to interact with them too, and helping them, especially when they have this extra super energy. I have one of my own myself. I have one kid who's super active, and so it challenges me too in many ways. So I find the ways to, you know, helping him to find the ways that he can just express his creativity. He's very tuned, he's aware. And even though here I am, I talk to them, and it's like, you know, your angels are around. When they ask, he feels like sometimes like somebody's really close to me. So, you know, allow as your angel maybe to step back a little bit. So in ways, you know, I never say anything that they don't ask. This is important thing, right? So as we go, you know, and he asks or he feels, and then I bring the support that he needs at that moment, always assuring them that he's always safe, no matter what. My little one, she's able to see very clearly. And at first was a shock, you know, because like, oh my goodness, but helping them to navigate that, you know, to let them know that it's, you know, the other side. And sometimes they come and visit, and sometimes, you know, they will not see things they're not ready to see, and we help them with that. So with this, I just want to say thank you so much. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, you know, if I can help you, you can reach me. There's right here, you can send me a message, a private message over my page, or, you know, there's so much information out there. Go and get all that information. There is so much out there. You might hear something about indigo children, crystal children, which is very similar, but they'll talk a little bit more about, you know, the things that you can see on those type of children, and the souls are old, and they have so much wisdom, and they are here also to help us and help the humanity and the evolution of the human race and the earth as well. Thank you so much for being tuned, and we will see you soon. Bye for now.